How you doing, everybody? It's your boy Mark B. Just wanted to talk about something that kind of pissed me off today. Hearing about comments from this dude that I really don't give much credence to as a journalist, as a person, as a black man especially. Jason Fatlock, a.k.a. Jason Whitlock. Now, I don't know this man personally. I have never sat down and ate dinner with him. I have never broken bread, as we say, with this man at all. But this guy never misses an opportunity to disrespect black athletes, to question their blackness, to question their realness. He never misses an opportunity to criticize the most minute things about them, whether it be their looks, whether it be their integrity, whether it be their sincerity. Never misses an opportunity. Now, what does this say about him as an individual? It says that he's a hater, but it says more than that. See, this kind of guy is dangerous. He's not just dangerous to black people. He's dangerous to white people too, because what he does is he makes white people feel as if the things that black people are talking about concerning racism aren't really there. He's the reason, or guys like him, are the reason why racism persists the way that it does, because you have black apologists that come out and they trot these guys out, and these guys are there basically to make white people feel at home and feel comfortable. They're here to make white people say that the situation isn't as bad as it is. They're basically the cops that come around and say there's nothing to see here. That's who Jason Whitlock is. Now, he was talking about LeBron James, who gave an interview talking about one of his homes being vandalized. And not just vandalized, but them writing the word nigger on his walls, whether it's outside or inside, not sure exactly. And Jason Whitlock's response to that was that it wasn't a racial issue. He hasn't been, LeBron James doesn't deal with racism because he's too rich. Now, if his home was just vandalized, if his home was just vandalized, that would be one thing. If they just took his stuff and threw things around and said, "Go Warriors" or something like that, okay, his house was vandalized. But the fact that there is a racial element makes it a racial crime, makes it a hate crime, actually. And Jason Whitlock believes that because LeBron James has money, he is immune to racial struggles in this country. Jason Whitlock has also talked about Colin Kaepernick's questioning his motives behind his stance against police brutality, deciding to side more with Cam Newton and his approach or his mindset that racism doesn't exist in America. You know, we just talk about it too much, and that's the problem. That's why racism still persists, or that's what racism is. It's the fact that we point out racial issues that happen. It's not the fact that the racial issues actually happen. It's not the fact that we make up 13% of the total population of the United States, but we make up like over 80% of the prison population. It's not that we need judicial reform because there's racism there. It's because we talk about it. If we would only stop talking about it, then police officers would stop noticing that we were black and stop shooting us. If we would just stop talking about it, then lenders would stop recognizing the fact that we're black and actually lend us money so that we can start businesses and things like that. The problem is that we just keep on talking about racism, and that's what keeps racism going. Jason Whitlock also talked about Serena Williams. Said that Serena Williams is an underachiever. This is just to lay some groundwork about his mindset concerning black athletes. That she's an underachiever, that her frame is thick, muscular, and unsightly because she's too lazy to stick to a workout regimen. Now, this is one of the greatest athletes ever in the world. And this is what Jason Whitlock had to say about her. Stephen in Django is a name that he's been called, but the thing is, I can't even call him Stephen. You know what I'm saying? Because Stephen at least loved his master so much so that he had undying loyalty to his master. Jason Whitlock doesn't love white folks. He doesn't. But he is an apologist, and he's here to make you feel better about yourself. He's here to make you feel calm and to make you not feel that there's racial issues that need to be addressed. That Colin Kaepernick is just being a exploitive public figure because he wasn't in a starting position anymore. LeBron James, who is one of the greatest basketball players to ever play, he's too rich to feel the brunt of racism. Talked about Oprah. Oprah is too rich to feel the brunt of racism. Although Oprah did talk about the fact that she was overseas and wasn't allowed to try on, I believe it was a necklace or something like that, or a sweater or something that she saw, and they wouldn't let her into the building to see it, based primarily off the fact that she was black. Not primarily, based solely off the fact that she was black. That's the only thing they knew about her. And then once they found out who she was, then the company wanted to issue an apology and then offer her the sweater for free, as if she can't buy the sweater. Somebody's financial status does not take away their social standing. Not in this country. It may minimize it, but you'll always be black. And Jason Whitlock, while he's tap dancing for these networks, I guess, because black people are really off of Jason Whitlock, while he's tap dancing for these networks and trying to make people feel make white people feel at ease. Not all white people, but the ones that refuse to acknowledge racism. Make them feel at ease and make them feel like, yeah, these black athletes are just whiny and this, that, and the other. There's guys like that are really bad for you, because what they're doing is they're making you feel as if these issues aren't there. So when you're talking to your black friends about it, you're less educated about it because he refuses to tell the truth. And the truth is there's a lot of racial disparity out there. There's a lot of issues within the black community. We do have, but there's issues within this country that prevent the black person who is on par with a white person from having the same experience. One of the things that he said was that a poor person, that it's worse to be poor in this country than it is to be black. It's worse to be poor in this country than it is to be black. You ask poor people in this country, right? You ask a poor white person, would they rather stay poor and be white, or whether they would rather stay poor and be black? They would rather be white. Nobody would rather be black. Nobody. Except for black people. Because we know what comes along with being black. Because I may be poor, but I can take a shower, I can cut my hair, I can put on deodorant, I can throw on a Brooks Brothers suit, and I can go into court, and odds are that judge is going to look at me and say, you know what, I'm going to give him another chance. He seems redeemable. I can do those same things and be a black man and go into court, and the judge still see a thug, still see somebody that's overly aggressive. Those are just the facts. And Jason Whitlock threw out a couple of things saying, check the stats, check the this, that, and the other. But he hasn't checked any. He's checked none. If he had, then he'd see that there's no way that you can equate being poor with being black. The black race is the poorest race in this country, but a poor white person still stands a better chance at economic freedom than a poor black person does, because all they need is a chance. All they need is an opportunity, and that's subjective. People hire people that they feel comfortable with, and they're hiring cultures that they feel comfortable with. The black culture is still not accepted in this country. You go to a black cookout, you'll see the spades table there, you'll see the domino table there. People are loud, we're joking, we're jiving on each other. It's completely different than a white cookout. We're comfortable with one another. You'll hear people cussing at each other and this, that, and the other. It happens all the time. That's our culture. It's not the same as white culture. Somebody who's white will hire somebody who reminds them of their uncle, reminds them of their cousin. I know that type of guy. That type of guy is comfortable to me. I know how to deal with that type of guy, because that culture is relative. A white person, just being white, will be able to go to any state, any city of any state in this country, and will fare a far better chance to do better for himself in this country than he would if he was black. I have a son that's 100% white. I have a son that's 100% black. Right? I have to raise them, letting them know that this world is going to treat the both of you all different. It's up to you all to know the difference. It's up to you all to know that you aren't different in your heart. But you're going to be afforded different opportunities than he's going to be afforded. It just is what it is. The police officer shows up on the scene and he sees you first, then you could possibly be a victim. I'm going to make sure that you're taken care of, that you're safe. Shows up on that same scene, sees you. Okay, empty your pockets, get on the ground. Let me check you first and make sure that you're not a threat to me. It just is what it is. There's no way to compare being black in this country to being poor in this country, because we're both. And if you're not poor, at least you're white. You always have a shot. You just need somebody to look you up and down and say, you know what, hey, I believe in you. That's it. Jason Whitlock is completely ignoring the fact that there's racial bias that's been prevalent for centuries in this country. He refuses to acknowledge it, and it's not that he doesn't know it, and that's what makes him dangerous. It's not that he doesn't know that it's there. He just refuses to acknowledge it because the people that are going to employ him would rather hear that it's not there. They want him to be the Tommy Lauren of black people. The one that says the opposite of everything that's true just to appease the people that are paying them. That's what Jason Whitlock is. And look, I don't know who his people are. I don't know who his family is. Obviously, he doesn't have love for them either. I don't know if he was the fat dude in school that got picked on all the time and doesn't have any friends. He can't have black ones. I don't know who they are. I don't know if there's anybody that can get through to him. And I don't even know if he would listen. Dude's 50 years old, and he swears up and down that he was a fan of hip hop, that hippity hop back in the day. I call shenanigans on all of it. But we need to recognize the danger in this kind of guy. We don't need apologists around. We don't need guys that are going to make things easily digestible for Caucasian America. We need people who are going to tell the truth. And if you have friends who are apologists like Jason Whitlock, they aren't your friends. If you're a white person, they aren't your friend. You know, and people who are like Jason Whitlock, look, white people know that you're cooning for them. They know that you're cooning, and they don't respect you either. They don't. They'll let you show up and they'll let you entertain them, but they don't really respect you. because they love their own race. So somebody coming along, shuffling and shucking and jiving and cooning for their sake, they're not going to trust you. They know exactly what you're doing. And if you're not loyal to your own race, if you have no sense of loyalty to your race, how are they going to trust you? They won't. They don't. This kind of guy kind of disgusts me because he knows what he's doing. He said in an interview one time, talking about Cam Newton and Colin Kaepernick, that he likes Cam Newton because Cam Newton's mindset is, well, I'm going to get my money here from these white folks, in other words, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do my charitable contributions over here. So I'm not going to say anything to mess up my money over here, and I'll just do my charitable work over here. Now, Cam Newton, Colin Kaepernick, both doing charitable work, both are standout athletes, taking time for the community. Only one of them is making more of a stance on social justice. And it seems like Jason Whitlock has a problem with anybody taking a stance on social justice when it comes to black people, which is really sad, him being black, and it's confusing. But at the end of the day, we don't need no coons over here. Definitely don't need none of them. We don't need apologists over here. We need truth. I think in order for us to progress as a country, especially under the thumb of this Donald Trump administration, the only way that we're going to close this chasm that we have as far as race is concerned is with honesty. I have to be able to tell you that, you know what, that is racially insensitive. I don't like it. Don't say this, and this is the reason why. Don't do this. This is the reason why. The reason why I don't like this is because of the racial undertones of this, that, and the other. That question in and of itself bleeds of white supremacy, and this is how. We have to be able to have those honest conversations with one another. If you really truly want to be my friend, or really truly want to be the friend of anybody that is of a different race, we got to be able to have honest conversation and honest dialogue. And I can't be cooning for you, and I can't be trying to make things easy for your white psyche. I can't. Not if I say I love you. This guy obviously doesn't love you. He doesn't love himself. He doesn't love his own people. So, this is Radio Dad. I'm out of here. Just wanted to drop this off a little bit. This is burning me up on the inside. So, all right, you all tune in to my channel. I'm trying to build this thing up. If you like it, subscribe. If you like this video, hit the like button, please. I appreciate it. Tell a neighbor, tell a friend, tell anyone who can comprehend. I'll be talking on a couple of other subjects as much as I possibly can. I got a lot to say, which is why I do radio as well. JHM Radio. You can check me out. I'm on radio broadcasts on www.jhmradio.com or on the JHM Radio app. You can catch me on there Thursday nights, definitely, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or on every other Saturday morning. I do a community segment where I'll probably be talking about things like this, and it'll be at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every other Saturday on the I'm Possible radio show. All right? So, peace and hair grease. Love you.